Welcome to Hard Hats and Horizons, the podcast where we dig deep into the construction and economic development shaping the future of Dallas-Fort Worth. We bring you insights from industry leaders and visionaries who are driving growth in North Texas. From construction projects to industry trends and insights, we cover it all. So grab your hard hat and join us as we explore the people and projects shaping the skyline of DFW. Now, here is your host, Andrea Pender.
We are going to get started today on the Hard Hats and Horizons podcast. We have Charlotte Vanderhoof today with PGAL, and she is a senior associate over there. Yeah. So kind of start us off and talk to us a little bit about how you got into architecture and maybe how you landed at PGAL.
Sure. Yeah. So I grew up in Austin, Texas, then moved to Oklahoma for college, the kind of rival OU, University of Oklahoma. Did my bachelor's in architecture for 5 years. Ended up getting a minor in interior design.
Okay.
And then grew up in Texas, but had never really visited Dallas, never lived there. But I graduated in 2016, and that's kind of where the jobs were at the time.
Nice.
So yeah, I'd interviewed with a couple firms here in Dallas, and yeah, accepted at PGAL, and I've been there 9 years now.
And tell us a little bit about what PGAL does. What do they focus on?
Yeah, so they do a lot. I think a lot of people know them for aviation. I do not do aviation at PGAL. I focus on civic projects. Mm-hmm. I've kind of done everything, it feels like. Courthouses, fire stations, rec centers, senior centers. I love libraries.
I was going to say, and your favorite is?
And my favorite is, libraries.
And so that's kind of how we got connected, was because I don't remember exactly how, but we both said we love libraries. You found out I was on the board for the Friends of the Dallas Public Library. And so then we would just talk library stuff there for a little while. How many libraries have you designed?
I've worked on 3 now, kind of ground up libraries. I did when I first started at PGAL. Actually, my first year to 2 years was a lot of focus on SOQs and that process and kind of winning work. And we did a little bit of smaller libraries, towns that, probably don't even know the name of or where they are.
Right. But they have a library now.
Yeah. So, and then obviously, a couple of ground up libraries now.
And I was reading through your paper, and it says that you guys work like all the way through for the life cycle of the project.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about that, and then talk to us what it's like to see everybody at that grand opening when that library is open too.
Yeah, I think so. That's really what sold me on PGAL when I first started, because I really didn't know what I wanted to work on. I mean, I knew I was passionate about architecture, and I wanted to make a career out of it, but I had no idea project type wise. I had some internships where I'd worked on a fire station and I'd worked on some kind of tenant finish out work, and I liked both of those things. But starting at PGAL, I was really sold on kind of that civic aspect. And then also, like you said, working through the life of a project, you learn a lot doing that.
Yeah.
So starting from very beginning, even being a part of the SOQ, probably, potentially.
And
then,
so for those of you that don't know, SOQ stands for?
Yes. Yeah. So like submission for qualifications. Yeah. So with civic work, we have to, go through that process, submit our qualifications, hopefully get shortlisted, and go through an interview, and then, hopefully get selected. But so even being a part of that process, all through programming, all through documentation, and even CA.
And correct me if I'm wrong on this, but with the SOQs, what's interesting with these civic type of projects is you submit your qualifications. And that's what it is. It's not a price. It's not a fee. It is, are we qualified to do this job or not?
Correct. Yeah. So it's submitting PGAL's expertise, if I'm on the project, my expertise, the team's expertise, and are we qualified to submit and win the work?
What is some of the cool things that you're seeing on libraries these days that maybe you didn't see when you were a little kid visiting libraries?
Yeah, they've changed a ton. They really have. I like to say they're not just a depository for books anymore. They're having to wear a lot of hats. They're having to provide lots of different programs, I think, especially even since COVID. So providing, resources to help people land jobs, review their resume, provide access to computers. A big thing now is maker spaces.
Mhm.
podcast studio,
Yep.
and we've done that in libraries. Yeah, 3D printing, all that kind of
Oh, that's
stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
So, as being a board member, I challenged myself because I was like, "Well, I'm going to be a board member. I want to know more than just the library that I pick up my books at, you
Right.
know?" And so Dallas has 30 libraries, and I thought, "Oh, it shouldn't be that hard to go visit 30 libraries." And I get the map. Dallas is a big place.
Yes.
And so I think it took several months. And when I would go and visit like 2 or 3 in a day. But I visited all 30 libraries.
Wow.
And it's really interesting to see the ones that haven't been touched since
Yeah.
they were built in 1970 compared to the buildings that just opened 6 months ago.
Mhm.
It's like, gosh, like libraries have come such a far,
Yeah.
way from, I mean, gosh, it's been however many years, 50
Yeah.
years. So
Well,
that's
and
a
not
lot.
every branch or city can build a brand new library.
Right.
We understand that. And so we'll do a lot of renovations at
Mhm.
PJL, just whatever allows them to better utilize their space and benefit the community
Mhm.
is what we focus on. And it's not always a ground up
Right.
project.
Okay, I went kind of off topic on some
Yeah,
of these things, but we both love libraries and I'm glad that you're designing them for us. What are some key moments or challenges that you've had in your career so far?
I think for me, just coming out of college and trying to find my voice
Mm.
and my place in the industry, for me, a big goal of mine was to get licensed as quickly as I could. So I took maybe 6 months straight out of school
Mhm.
to recuperate and get settled in my job. And then I
Uh-huh.
started studying.
Okay. And kind of explain that process because I'm familiar with it, but I don't think a lot of people understand just how much work this
Yes.
is.
Yeah. So I think, and it may have changed now, it's been a couple of years for
Uh-huh.
me, but you have to get about 3 years of actual experience. So
Mhm.
hours,
Mhm.
submitting your hours. And that's another reason why I was interested in PJLs because you need like CA hours. You need kind of
Ah.
running the gamut of all phases of a project.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
So that's kind of you got to fill each category.
Okay.
And then the exams. So
Mhm.
it's six exams, and yeah, it's it's a grueling process.
And those exams are only offered X amount of times a year, right?
So you
No.
can take them at any time, but you can, I think from what I remember, you can only take, say you fail a couple of times,
Uh-huh.
you can only take it, I think 2 or 3 times in a year.
Okay.
There's some kind of stipulation.
Okay.
But yeah, I had my fair share of
And there's
fails.
6 tests, 7 tests?
There's 6 tests.
There's
Yeah.
6 tests.
I actually got away with 5 tests
Okay.
because they were transitioning from their 4.0 to their 5.0.
Nice. Lucky you.
Yeah. I was forced to kind of take the tests in an order.
Mm.
So that was maybe potentially a downside, but I did get away with
Mhm.
5
Mhm.
tests.
And so why do some people not get licensed? Why do some people drag it out forever? I know that's kind of a
Yeah.
loaded question, but
I think well, I know people that they would love to prioritize it, but their life doesn't allow it. And
uh
it does take a lot of time. I mean, my biggest challenge was just trying to figure out how I studied because they're
Mhm.
very different than school.
Right.
It's not like taking a test in college. And so it just takes time. And so I think it's, yeah, are you
Mm.
prioritizing it? I've known some people that will pass a couple and then life gets in the
Uh-huh.
way. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, they do expire after a certain time.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Like, do you have to get all 6 of these taken within a certain amount of
I
time?
think they expire after 5 years if you
Okay.
can't. Yeah, something
Okay.
like that.
So you have to put a plan together,
Hmm.
make it happen.
Yeah, I think it took me about 2.5, 3 years
Okay.
from start to finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of times people just assume you come out of school, you have your everything you need to do, and you're like, no, 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 there's a lot more, and I have to
There
have
is.
hours. So kind of similar to the engineering tests that they have to take, which I
Mhm.
know those have changed over the years and the requirements
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that just assume you come out of architecture school and
Yeah.
voila, you're an architect, which you
Exactly.
are, you have a
Yeah.
degree, but we need to get licensed.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to,
Mhm.
but I just think I like to say, now that I have it, no one can take it away.
Uh-huh.
Assuming I have my continuing education hours every
Right.
year, but
Mhm.
I'm always going to have it. And it's just, yeah, it's really important
Mhm.
to me to be able to say, I have a professional
It's
license.
a big deal. It's a big deal. How many continuing education credits do you have to do each year?
TBAE, which is kind of the
Uh-huh.
Texas, requires 12.
Mhm.
And then I'm a member of AIA and they have 18 is
So you have
required.
so can those overlap or be the
Yes,
same? Okay.
yeah, and
Nice.
I'm also a licensed interior designer, and those can overlap as well.
Was that a separate test that you had to
Was
Okay.
Yeah, so that was 3 tests
Oh
that
my.
I took the year after my architecture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think those are little things that people don't think you have to have. or could have.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Good for you on getting that done. Because I
Thank
feel
you.
like once you leave school, studying, you have a job. Your job
Yeah.
isn't school anymore.
Yeah, that's why I did it right away. I didn't want the
Woo.
school
Yeah.
mentality to leave
Disappear.
me. Like,
Yeah, that's a good idea. What are some things that have motivated you throughout your career so far?
I just get really motivated with the work that I'm able to do.
Hmm.
So it's really important and impactful to be able to have an effect on the built environment, and especially spaces where public spaces. So libraries, for instance,
Hmm.
I can go back and
Yep.
experience and enjoy that library that I got to be a part of, and that just motivates
Hmm.
me
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
That's cool. And I feel like, there's a question here later on that's like, what's your favorite construction project? And I feel like the answer that everyone gives ends up being a civic type of
Mm-hmm.
project where people can come and see my work, or they can come to the building I designed or built, or
Exactly.
it's one thing, I think, designing a facility like that versus a private penthouse, blah, 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 which those are amazing
Yeah,
projects, I'm
I bet it's
sure.
cool.
We can't show them off to everybody.
Yeah.
You can just show them pictures of things.
Right.
So, talk to us about mentorship. What have you done with mentorship over the years?
So, liked this question because I've never actually had a formal mentor
Okay.
where you
Uh-huh.
meet once a month or
Uh-huh.
that. I've never experienced that. I'm open to it. I think it'd
Uh-huh.
be something to have that kind of regular meeting of
Mm-hmm.
someone and having someone kind of regularly invest in each other. But I have been blessed with some really amazing coworkers
Nice.
and people I've gotten to work with that I've are really invested in the work I do, but also just my life in general, especially straight out of
Uh-huh.
school, trying to balance a new job and just adulthood in general.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really nice to have those people at PJL that were invested
Nice.
in me
Mhm,
succeed.
mhm. No, that's good. I feel like it's always interesting to see where people find their mentors or who they see as a mentor.
Mhm.
I've been part of like formal mentor programs where I've had a couple ladies that I meet with once a month. And like some of them I've been meeting with once a month for years, and some of them our paths have kind of changed a little bit, but it's still a once a quarter or at least a phone call.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have those people in your back pocket that you can bounce some questions off of
Yeah,
and stuff.
definitely.
So,
Yeah, I definitely see the benefit and that maybe that's something I'm able to do in the future.
mhm.
And kind of I've heard you talk about like attending an event. It's like,
Mhm.
am I the mentor or the mentee? That gray area. Maybe you're
Uh-huh.
both.
Yeah.
Which is
Well, and
cool.
there's one lady that I meet with once a month, and it's kind of like a peer mentorship. So
Yeah.
our roles are slightly different, and so she can learn a little bit from the BD side, and I can learn a little bit about from her higher level marketing side. So then I can come back and help my Carco team out, and vice versa for her. So yeah, it's nice to be able to have those relationships where it's like, okay, this is working, this isn't.
Yeah.
How's it working for you?
Especially outside your organization, because sometimes it's easy to be in that bubble of, see the same people every day, you kind of but yeah, to get that different perspective,
Hmm.
I think is
Yeah.
really important.
Yeah. It's always good. And I feel like we have such a good industry where we are competitors, but at the end of the day, we also just happen to have the same career,
Yeah.
So I had a group of ladies out this week and they were all from different companies. And I said, well, I know you're all competitors. One lady who has several years more experience in the industry than I do. And she just said, we're not competitors today. We're just
Yeah.
ladies in the industry who build buildings. And she was like, we're only competitors when we're both handing in that envelope
There you
at the
go.
same time.
Exactly.
So I thought that was a nice perspective
Mhm.
of things. Yeah. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about industry insights. So what are you seeing right now with industry trends or are there any like specific challenges that you guys are facing right now?
I think, I guess, kind of back to libraries. I already spoke on it, but they are evolving. They are having to kind of meet these new needs. And so, yeah, I think just being open, providing flexibility, maybe not just libraries, but a lot of our
Mhm.
projects, because they want these buildings to last 50 plus years
Right.
and they don't know where they're going to be
Right.
in 50 years. And so just providing, allowing them to grow into the space
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
flexible. I think that's what, I mainly focus on with
Hmm.
my work. I don't know if that's an industry trend, but
It's
uh,
a library
it's
trend.
a library trend
Uh-huh.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too because we are at this interesting spot with books. Like
mhm,
there's so much electronic stuff, but
exactly.
I think you and I see it. I don't think libraries are ever going to
No,
disappear because they're just evolving.
they are.
They're changing a little
Yeah.
bit. So,
Yeah, I'm always impressed with librarians and library staff about how they can, you know, maybe they have a space that's old and
mhm,
they have these challenges, but what they can make of the space is pretty incredible
mhm,
to see what
mhm.
they do every day.
Did you go to the library a lot when you were like a little kid?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I loved it. For Austin and Round Rock, it
Uh-huh.
was mostly a weekend activity.
Oh,
It's like
nice.
we're returning our books. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
My family, they're big readers.
Uh-huh.
My mom and sister
Yeah.
read faster than me. They're devour books.
So I have a funny story. When we moved to Dallas, for whatever reason, my dad was in town at the same time when we got our Dallas library cards. And then my husband and I both asked, we're like, well, what's the max checkout? And she was like, well, there isn't one.
Is that a thing?
And we're like, but there's always been one. And
Yeah.
my dad just starts laughing. He's like, that's just what we told you. So you didn't check out 100 books and lose them.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I've been checking out 1,000,000 books and you guys lied to me.
It's like, how do we keep track of them? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. What sort of actionable advice do you have for listeners who may be in a similar field, similar role, or maybe wanting a position like yours?
I think it's important to come with a posture of humility and be willing to listen and
Ah,
kind of soak up
hmm,
knowledge because I think you'll learn a lot that way. You know, I was definitely that way when I first graduated. I'm more of a listener than a talker. That's just kind of my personality. I think I was able to learn a lot by just being in the meeting, you know, growing that kind of courage and confidence took me maybe longer than I would have liked. But I think being able to listen early on and
mm-hmm,
just kind of soak up that knowledge
hmm,
helped me get to the point I am now and
nice.
kind of find my voice. See working with project managers, seeing kind of their leadership skills,
Hmm,
things that maybe I wanted to take from it, things maybe I didn't, you know, that kind of,
hmm,
so being in that position to just kind of listen and learn
hmm.
was helpful.
What did that kind of look like for you from going from getting yourself in the meeting,
Mhm.
sitting, listening to the person that you are now using the voice where there's other people in the room
Yeah,
listening to
I
you?
think I was really fortunate. PGAL and my principal at the time gave me a lot of opportunities to be in the meeting, to be
Nice.
at the table. I would be a part of interviews. We'd be going after a project. I wouldn't say anything. I would literally introduce myself and then
Uh-huh.
just be a body. But I feel like I learned so much
Oh, I'm
seeing
sure.
how they, yeah, instead of just thinking, oh, well, she's behind the scenes. She doesn't need to be there.
Right.
Allowing me to be there
Hmm,
and be a part of it was huge. Yeah, because then that helped me grow my confidence to
hmm,
then
hmm.
now be a voice in
Yeah.
interviews.
Well, and that's huge because in my previous roles, like I would help prepare and get things
Mhm.
together for these interviews, but I
Yeah,
never was even there, you know? So, and a lot of times at my previous firm, the engineers were invited, but I wasn't
yeah,
included
exactly.
in that. So, like in my head, I can picture it and I feel like I
Mhm.
know, but like picturing it in your head's different than standing there
Yeah.
and soaking it in. And okay, next time if I'm in this position, I know how to answer whatever it is that's coming.
Yeah, and I think just being, you know, saying, "Is this a meeting I can attend?"
Mm.
You know, whether you may just be the person taking the meeting minutes, and that's really helpful,
Uh,
and you learn a lot by doing that. I remember I would take meeting minutes and be like, what does this acronym mean?" After
uh,
the fact, you know, be like,
right.
"What is what does this mean?"
I still take notes like that.
Yeah,
Like to so and so
I
about
literally did that last week. There was an acronym, and I was like, "I don't know what that
uh-huh,
means." I had to Google it,
uh-huh.
but yeah,
But now you know.
now I know.
Yeah, it's always interesting whenever there's opportunities and then the response is, "Oh, I'm too busy." And I'm like,
Mm,
"Oh, but you're missing out on such a good opportunity,
yeah,
you know?"
exactly.
So, good for you for seeing that and asking and then look at where you're at now. That's exciting. What are you most passionate about in your job?
I've said it before,
Uh-huh.
but I just think, yeah, really getting to have an impact on the community I live in
Mhm.
is really important. So we have a grand opening for a library and senior center next weekend,
Uh-huh.
actually. And that's so rewarding to see the community. They've been so excited for years. I've been on the project for years.
Uh,
And so to finally get to see it open,
uh-huh.
yeah,
Which project is it?
City of Saginaw. Yeah. So it's really unique in that it's a library and a senior
That is
center all
cool.
under one roof. But
It's a
yeah,
perfect fit.
it
You just need
is.
to throw a YMCA onto it and
Exactly.
everything.
Yeah, it's got a big kind of multi-purpose space. Yeah, it'll be really exciting.
That's interesting too. I wonder
It
if
is.
that's
Yeah.
something that will become more of a thing.
I think so. Yeah,
Mhm.
we had one project, I don't know where it ended up, but it was like a daycare
Mhm.
with a senior center.
Huh,
So kind of, yeah,
that's
kids and seniors,
interesting.
which I thought was interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think we're seeing, it saves them money because they're
Mhm.
basically putting two, buildings under one roof.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So it allowed them to, build a space for
Uh-huh.
two people instead of two separate buildings, two separate homes,
Nice.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's cool. What are some of your future goals?
I think a goal for me right now is focusing on building relationships um, and outside of kind of the firm,
Mhm.
focusing on the network and, yeah, getting to meet um, new people and just kind of building that
Mhm.
as a focus of mine.
Are there specific types of people that you're wanting to get in front of?
I mean, I think obviously building the relationships of our clients has always been really important to me, but that's once we've won the project. And
Mhm.
so I think, yeah, just connecting with more cities and more people with the projects that I work on
Mhm.
is kind of what I'm focused on.
Nice.
Need reliable, high-quality service for your commercial project? Choose Carrco, the most trusted contractor in commercial painting and drywall in Dallas-Fort Worth. With over 30 years of experience, Carrco delivers top-tier craftsmanship across Texas. From expert painting to seamless drywall, we handle it all, on time and on budget. Transform your space with the professionals at Carrco. Visit carcopainting.com today. Carrco, where quality meets reliability.
Let's see, what is the biggest struggle you are having right now and how are you tackling it?
Work life balance.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
I'm getting married and planning a wedding and finding that balance.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yeah.
When's the wedding?
April,
Okay.
next
So
April.
so a few more months. Getting
Exactly.
close.
Yeah, we
Yep.
booked the venue, but yeah, just it's totally different world, and then finding that balance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into planning a
There
wedding.
is.
I always joke and say that I got married like 6 months before all the wedding TV shows came
Oh,
on
yeah,
TV because I just did you got married at the church and then you had
right.
your reception at the local, club venue
Yes.
thing. Like there, I didn't even know that there was a million other options
Yeah,
out there.
exactly.
So
There are.
it probably saved me a lot of stress. It probably saved my parents a lot of money.
Probably.
I feel like yeah, I can only imagine that there's a
Yeah,
lot of choices to make
yeah.
and everything.
It's like it's a lot of decisions, but I think I'm really trying to find that there's a lot of joy
Uh-huh.
in this time in my
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
and we're really excited to get married, and so I think,
Yeah.
yeah, now that
Nice.
now that I've got the venue, I can
Now you can
relax a
breathe a
little
little
and,
bit.
yeah, find the joy.
That's funny. Okay, we are going to move on. Perfect segue to like
Yeah.
some personal stuff. So, what are some of your hobbies outside of work?
I could spend a lot of time talking about hobbies.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have a lot of them. We do a lot of different hobbies at home, my
Uh-huh.
fiance and I.
Uh-huh.
So we tried knitting. The last month he took to it really well.
Oh,
I did
funny.
not.
Okay.
He knitted me a beautiful hat.
Uh,
We just love doing little, we play board games a lot.
mhm.
But then kind of outside, we like to golf together.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have not golfed in probably a year.
Uh-huh.
It's just finding the time for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of
Do you want to go golf or do you want to go to the driving range?
I like both.
Okay.
I usually tire out about like hole 12,
It's a
14.
long day.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you just find me sitting in the cart. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly.
So when we first got married, there was a driving range pretty close to where we lived, and it was like the cheapest date night on like a Friday night.
Yeah.
You could buy a bucket of balls and get a couple drinks for like
Mhm.
$20 or like
Yeah.
something really cheap, and then you hit balls for an hour or so and have a good evening together.
I think that's the way to do it because it
Yeah.
can become expensive.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think just getting started. I
Mhm.
have these old clubs that, someone gifted to me. It's just like it can be
Uh-huh.
easy. I
Yeah.
know some think it's kind of hard to get started.
Yeah.
It can be as easy as that.
Well, and it could be as easy as borrowing the clubs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Getting it. My first set of golf clubs, I remember because it was a big purchase. They were $99
Yeah.
from Walmart.
Yeah.
If that tells anyone
Yeah.
anything. And then I remember I got invited to something years later, and we carried those golf clubs from house to house. And my husband was like, "You can't take those golf clubs with you." And I was like, "Why? They're purple." And he was like, so then
Yeah.
we got out, we went and got nice golf clubs. And I've only used them a handful of times, but I just thought, I'm like, I go, people really know, know the difference of golf clubs. And he goes, yes, like just like any other
Yeah.
sport, people are going to know. So I thought that was funny. Well, that's cool. It sounds like you keep yourself pretty busy then,
Yes.
which is probably why your work-life balance also is a little hard to balance because you
Yes.
have so many fun things that you want to do.
Yeah, right now we're trying to learn Japanese.
Oh boy,
Yeah,
that's a
so
toughie.
that's a tough one.
Okay.
Duolingo, but
Uh-huh.
that's our focus right now.
Okay.
We're hoping that's our honeymoon is Japan.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Have you ever been?
No.
We went to Tokyo like right before the COVID shutdown,
wow.
and it was the cleanest city I have ever been to. It's a completely different world. So it's an interesting place.
Yeah, we're excited.
And when we were there, they were building out all the construction stuff for the Olympics. And so we got to see all that, but then the whole world shut down.
Yeah.
And so I was like, but we've been there. Like we saw this and we saw that and we saw this. And so I was like, that's kind of cool because there's a lot of people who didn't get to see that. So one of the things that I really remembered is um, there's a place called Shibuya Station, and literally at every time the little crosswalk comes on, literally there are thousands of people on these sidewalks. And I joke because the only person that ever bumped into me the entire trip was Will, and the only person that bumped into him was me because everyone else was so aware
Yes.
of like being in such tight quarters, and we're just not used to that here.
Yeah, definitely not.
That'll be a cool honeymoon. Who or what inspires you the most?
I get really inspired by, I think, just people who are innately joyful, kind people.
Mhm.
It doesn't take much to be kind. And
Mhm.
I think those people are really inspiring to me. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that answer. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Not
I
that
think you're one of them. I
nice.
think, yeah, just people who are true givers, with no real agenda.
Yeah.
I think that goes a long way in this
Mhm.
industry, kind
Mhm.
of like you were saying, even as competitors,
Right.
you still have something to give
Mhm.
to this industry.
Right.
And I think it goes a long way, and I get really inspired by
Mhm.
those people.
Nice.
Uh,
Nice. I like that. Okay, we have a quick fire round, but it's probably not going to be quick fire because I always like dig in and ask more questions. So you'll love the first one. What is the last book you read?
It was a big one.
Okay.
I read 11/22/63 by Stephen King.
Oh, how have I not even heard of this?
It's over 1,000 pages. It's
Okay.
a big book. So I'm reading, or I read it because we've kind of started a book club. There's a few of us at
Uh-huh.
PGAL
Uh-huh.
that have started a kind of outside
Fun
of
book club.
office fun book club.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, not related to work. And so we chose this book. I've never read Stephen King book before because I don't really like the
Uh-huh.
kind of horror, gruesome. That's not this. It's more suspenseful.
Okay.
But it's about JFK assassination, a guy who goes back in time to change the
I have
timeline.
not read that one.
Yeah.
How was it? Was it
It
good?
was interesting. I think there
Yeah.
were good parts and then parts where it's 1,000 pages, so
drug
it got
out.
a little drug out a
Uh-huh.
little bit. But yeah, it was an interesting book.
So on my library around tour, I told myself that I had to check out a book at every library that I was there to make it
Oh,
official.
cool.
And anyone was tracking this
Yes.
except for myself. But I thought I'm just going to check out a Stephen King book because there's a million to choose from. And I know there will be one at every library. And so that year I went through I checked out 30.
Oh wow.
So yeah, his books I don't know how he comes up with some of the things he comes up
That was
with.
basically my conclusion of the book was, how did he come up with it?
I don't know, like what else is going on here?
Exactly.
Okay, well so did you enjoy it?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was the longest book I've read in
Uh-huh.
a while.
What did everybody else in the book club? Did
Yeah,
everybody finish it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We kind of had our theories and what did you really think about some of the characters that maybe we didn't all agree with. But
Uh-huh.
I think that's why we liked it, was because there was still kind of some open ended of who really was. When it became a show, apparently, I think they did a season.
Okay.
I've not watched it, but apparently they changed quite a bit in the show.
Of course they did.
Um,
Okay. Well then maybe I'll put that one on my list. Maybe I'll put that on my list as an audio book or
yes.
something.
Yeah.
What is your favorite quote?
I guess it kind of goes back to that aspect of listening, but be quick to listen and slow to speak is something that resonates with me a lot. Just because, yeah, I think it's important. I think that PGAL is really good at that. It's kind of a philosophy of, I know, our office to be really good listeners because it's easy to be in a multitask mode and you're hearing, but you're not truly listening. I think it's really important in our industry because it's the only way you're going to have a successful project
Right.
is by listening to your client and
Yeah.
producing something that they really want.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. I like that. I like that. What is a skill you would like to learn to add to your hobby list over
I
here?
was going to say the Japanese is a good one. Languages are hard. I'm not
Yeah.
fluent in any other
Same.
language.
So you chose Japanese.
So it was Japanese, I know. Learning the characters has been
Wow.
unique, yeah,
That's a big
but yeah.
accomplishment to
I'd
take
also
down.
like to learn Spanish. I had started with Duolingo in Spanish
Uh-huh.
and got fairly far, and then we obviously switched because then we got excited about the trip.
Uh-huh.
But I'd love to even take a class,
Uh-huh.
like, get really serious about learning Spanish.
I have a friend of mine who she dove down that rabbit hole and she actually took some classes in person, but she said she struggled because they would like pass out worksheets. She's like,
Hmm.
well, I can do a worksheet at home. Like the hard
Yes.
part is actually conversing.
Yes.
I feel like because I did Duolingo for Spanish for a year
Mhm.
since coming on board at Carco. And there's a lot of words that I know, but then I get scared to like say it out loud. I get all like
Exactly.
not peer pressure, like stage fright. And I can't do it. So I think you need to have
Yes.
that you have to speak in Spanish or you have to, and
It's
just
the only way you really learn and, yeah, can conversate, I think is
yeah.
important. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Good for you for uh
We'll see. Yeah.
attempting these things. What is the favorite city that you have visited?
Oh, there's lots of cities. My fiance and I travel really well together. We
Uh-huh.
love traveling together. We got to go to Europe last year. We're big train enthusiasts, riding trains, watching trains. And so we went around Switzerland
Oh,
all by
nice.
train.
I bet that was
It
beautiful.
was gorgeous.
Mhm.
And I think our favorite city was Zurich.
Okay.
We didn't get to spend too much time there because that's where we kind of flew into
Uh-huh.
and started the journey. I would love to go back there.
I feel like my husband goes on a kick, and every once in a while, there's this train guy who you probably know.
Yes.
And it is fascinating to watch all of those things.
It is, yeah. I think we've not done like the sleeper train. That might
Okay,
be
that's
the
what I was
next.
going to ask you.
No,
Okay.
yeah, just riding trains during the day. But it's
Something that's like here in the US, and I don't know what it
right.
is, but it says it's beautiful.
Yeah, you can like up California. Yeah, that would
Uh-huh.
be fun.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, what is your favorite construction project that you have been a part of?
I would definitely have to say the Round Rock Public Library.
Okay.
It was one of, if not my first ground up project at
Uh-huh.
PGAL.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's really important to me because I grew up in Austin and Round Rock, and I grew up going to that library.
That's cool.
So yeah, I knew it really well. They have a mascot. I think they actually retired, but a snake, Roxanne. And so it was just full circle moment
I
to
love
be
that.
a part of the new library, which is right across the street from there. They're just one library, just one central. And to get to we got to build a home for Roxanne.
Oh,
I got
that's
to
cool.
detail that. And just being a part of that was definitely a full circle moment for me.
That's neat. That's neat. Well, I think we have wrapped up all of the questions. I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Yeah, thank you so much.